All right, hi and welcome. I'm Caroline Best, Tao of Horsemanship. This is Everything Horses and More blog. And today, Sundance and I are going to start a series 1, part 1 of 3. We're going to be introducing the half-halt. So this topic is going to fall underneath understanding the basics of horse training, basically creating your foundation. And we're introducing the half-halt part 1. Next week, we'll be showing you part 2, which we will get into the how-to, the steps of the half-halt. And part 3, we're going to get into troubleshooting. What do you do when your horse does this, or if you have a horse with more whoa or more go? And so I'm bringing this up because this is about the basics. This series is about the basics of horse training. I can't emphasize it enough, and that includes your half-halt. Part 1, I'll be explaining and demonstrating, very briefly though, demonstrating, because I'll get into more detail with part 2 and part 3. But I'll be explaining and demonstrating the purpose of the half-halt. It is amazing, always the half-halt. I use the half-halt in my lunging method, and I use it in all of my riding. In all of my development with my horses. It is one of the things that will help keep you safe on a horse, if they're that connected to you, through your seat, not just through your rein aids, through your seat. I will show you in part 2 how to teach it, and in part 3 we'll work on problem solving, the most common and challenging situations. Half-halts are universally useful, regardless of your riding discipline. Although they are used in great abundance in the dressage arena, where perfect control of the horse is required, they are universal. So the half-halt helps tune your horse back into your seat, and your seat is the captain of everything you should be asking your horse to do. It's the #1 aid, always. You have your add-on aids, as I call them, your hands, your legs, your cluck, your movement, everything else is an add-on. But what happens in your seat, your pelvis, your core, is the #1 communicator with your horse. And so that's where everything begins. And it begins with my method. And I teach all of this on the ground, believe it or not. It's taught in my whole lunging method. I have several different lunging styles, depending on how I want to develop the horse. And you learn how to embody the rhythm, the movement, and it's through your first chakra, the base of your spine, which is what connects to the horse when you sit on its back. And up through, because this is what rides. You don't ride with your legs, you ride with your seat. So developing that engagement in your own body, that level of flexibility and strength in your own body and your core is so important. And the easiest way, and again, I'm getting into this in part 2, next week, the easiest way to develop this is to not complicate it by teaching you how to do it and then you teaching the horse how to do it. The easiest way should be on the ground, and you learning how to embody this and how to use your body correctly, your position, your seat. And then we get you and your horse, aligned and synchronized in that movement on the ground through my lunging styles, and then you take it to your riding. And so 75% of the learning and the technique is developed on the ground, and then refined through the gymnastics application in your riding, my riding program. And the gymnastics application is half-halt as part of your gymnastics, your shoulder in, your travers and your renvers. So your haunches in and your haunches out. All of that we also work on the ground. We do all of this on the ground, whether it's in hand or through the lunging styles, so that your horse is developed the classical way, the way the great masters did. So I can't emphasize enough that half-halt for me is in everything I do all the time at every level of my riding, including my trail riding. And then if my horse isn't listening to my seat, that's not good. If my horse is on a trail and can slow down or stop just with my seat tightening up and not pulling back on my rein aid, wow, my horse is truly connected to me, and I know I'm going to be safe because I've got a thinking horse. So the more you guys get to experience what a correct half-halt should feel like from a schoolmaster, the easier it's going to be for you to work towards achieving that with a horse that you're either training or retraining or learning on. So I'm trying to set you guys up for success. I can't recommend enough. Doesn't mean you stop teaching your horse or learning with your horse or starting a young horse or restarting a horse. It doesn't mean stop that. But if you really don't know what it is, take the time to go find that feel. Learn from someone. So before we begin the half-halt, we need to teach our horses about contact. I'm not going to go through that in part 2 because I already have videos on that. I want to bring it up though. How to be responsive to light contact versus pushing through, which is instinctual for a horse. So we've got to work through that. And becoming heavy and reliant on our hands. According to many masters and biomechanic experts, the best time to apply the half-halt is in the moment the hind leg touches the ground. So it's not when the hind leg is in the ground, and it's not when it's pushing off, which you have to learn how to feel when you're riding. So just look at my shoulders. These are going to be the horse's haunches right now. And again, I'll do a lot of showing you in my body because it's going to be, that's to me the easiest way I learned, and I'm self-taught with this because I took tremendous lessons from FEI, centered riding, you name it, when I got back into horses. And I took my 2-year sabbatical to learn. I saved up money to go study for 2 years, everybody I could. And most of my training is a result of not finding the answers. Most of the training I give you is self-taught, about 95% of it, out of frustration. So instructors usually are great riders, but they're not great teachers. And they may be great riders, but they're not great trainers either. I want somebody that knows the horse inside out, knows how to ride the movement, knows how to teach the movement on the horse, knows how to ride that movement, and knows how to break it down for their students. And that's what I'm hoping to do for you all. So Sundance, let's see how good we are, showing you guys some simple, easy half-halts in the walk. This is not a how-to, this is just to educate your eye. The how-to will be in part 2. So let's go on in, baby girl. Good girl, babe. Oh, I know. So I'm just feeling her, feeling if she's tight, a little tight there. So a big walk, a big working walk in the arena is going to help stretch her. Good girl. Good, relaxed, big walk. And that's how we're going to start. Okay. Thank you. Good girl, babe. That's enough for today. We'll get more into this next week. May you always be one with your horse.